Sejam muito bem-vindos a mais um episódio do Pastelaria Podcast, podcast oficial da Spectra. Aqui com vocês mais uma vez, Natan, ao meu lado, Maria.
Tudo bom, Maria? Coisa rara, tudo bem, né? Já tinha
Atualmente aqui tem sido complexo. Eu já troquei para, a Maria já trocou para aqui. Eu quase chamei a Iris de Maria no dia da minha abertura, mas tudo bem.
E eu, o Lucas de Iratã.
Exatamente. Então, como vocês já podem perceber, a gente está em lugar diferente, estúdio diferente, é uma imersão que a gente veio fazer aqui na Lasa.
Eu tô tomando meu English breakfast.
Essa tomando seu English breakfast. Eu tô tomando meu café da North Star, que eu tomo todos os dias pela manhã, inclusive. Esse é da Colômbia, inclusive. Colômbia, beijo. Manda beijo pra Colômbia. Precisa te visitar de novo. Como vocês já perceberam, eu queria poder falar que esse é o primeiro episódio, ou o que a gente tá fazendo e tal, mas provavelmente vocês já devem ter visto também em outros episódios. Se vocês não viram, então aquele resuminho rápido, a gente veio aqui na Lasa, com os nossos parceiros da Lasa, da Consult Lasa, para trocar informação, trocar experiência, passar um tempo aqui com eles, apresentar um pouco do nosso trabalho para eles, conhecer um pouco mais de perto o trabalho deles também. E nesse contexto a gente está imerso fazendo podcasts para levar para vocês informações mais atuais, informações novas de desenvolvimento e o que vem por aí 2025 ou 2026 sobre as tecnologias com que a Lasa trabalha e com que a gente trabalha também, até porque a gente acaba utilizando as ferramentas da Lasa. Como vocês viram no episódio, no card, aqui no card não, mas na thumb do episódio, a gente decidiu conversar com o Cris, que vocês vão ver aqui daqui a pouco.
Que você já conhece.
Vocês já conhecem.
Da Lasa.
Episódio aqui do CEO da Lasa também. O Leandro vai colocar o card para vocês. Sobre inteligência artificial e como é as perspectivas e o que ele enxerga sobre a mudança e a tecnologia, sobre a mudança da tecnologia, o efeito, né, da tecnologia no mercado farmacêutico, principalmente focado à toxicidade. Então, a gente vai começar a falar inglês agora. Quem quiser, coloca a legenda para vocês assistirem. Se você tiver alguma dificuldade, não se esqueça, manda mensagem para a gente tenta interagir e falar com vocês um pouco mais a respeito do episódio. Para vocês que consomem o podcast em inglês, aproveitem, vai ser divertido. E antes de começar, a gente vai falar sobre aqueles 3 recados que o Leandro sempre manda para vocês. Beleza?
Os recadinhos estão um pouquinho diferentes hoje, porque a gente acabou não conseguindo gravar os recados lá, porque o tempo de gravação era curto, e a gente acabou otimizando o tempo para gravar o máximo possível para vocês. Então, vamos lá falar com nossos recadinhos dos nossos parceiros, começando pelo Sérgio, da Axios Research. Você sabe, não tem ninguém aqui para me corrigir, estou sozinho, posso falar errado à vontade. E se você quiser padrão, vai lá, Sérgio, vem no podcast, na Cash Série, vírgula na pastelaria, o pessoal da Spectra. Quero padrões. Dá desconto, dá aquela condição marota de pagamento. Manda para nós, manda para o Sérgio, vai ganhar brinde, vai ganhar descontos, vai ganhar condição boa de pagamento. E se você quiser amostradores de pó, líquido, viscoso, é com o Sérgio também, que ele é representante ele é parceiro da Assembly System, que é a primeira empresa de amostradores do mundo. É uma empresa inglesa, boa demais, vai lá com ele, pega tudo isso aqui, faz um pacotão, pede desconto, pede forma de pagamento, pede parcelamento, pede tudo para ele. Não sei o que você vai conseguir. Mas fala que veio aqui que pelo menos brinde eu garanto que você consiga. E nossos parceiros da YMC, que vai te ajudar com colunas cromatográficas, você vai lá falar com a Marina, com o Laudo ou com o Lucas, fala com eles, fala, meu equipamento está com problema, e eu não sei qual coluna que é, eu não sei se essa coluna que tá usando aqui é boa, me ajuda, me dá coluna boa, vem aqui fazer um treinamentozinho, um workshopzinho, vamos alinhar tudo, então você vai lá e tem contato com a YMC, todos os links estão aqui na descrição. E mais importante, está acabando o ano, falta pouquinho, e a gente não bateu a meta dos 3.000 inscritos no YouTube. Então você vai lá no YouTube, divulga para todo mundo, faz aquele mutirão de divulgação do Pastelaria, divulga para todo mundo, teu amigo, pede para amigo divulgar para alguém, pede para seguir. Não é só divulgar, a pessoa tem que seguir também, né? Tem que dar aquela moral pra gente para ajudar a bater a meta. Você vai no YouTube, pastelaria.com, ou no Instagram, Spectra Soluções Científicas, ou no LinkedIn, Spectra Soluções Científicas, ou no Spotify, Pastelaria Podcast Oficial também. Você vai lá, segue, compartilha, curte, que é muito importante pra gente. Não esquece do nosso site. No nosso site tem todo o conteúdo para você ir lá, tem blogs, temas diversos, cada 15 dias, cada 15 sexta-feiras, 15 sexta-feira não, né? Cada 15 dias, toda sexta, após 15 dias, ficou confuso, mas você entendeu? Não é toda sexta, mas a cada 2 sexta-feiras, para facilitar a vida, tem blog que a gente escreve lá sobre temas diversos, Tem a playlist, porque às vezes você não consegue acessar o YouTube da sua empresa, tem a playlists com os conteúdos do podcast, então você clica lá e assiste sobre nitrosaminas, QBD, QBD e a porrada de coisa que tem, você deve ter lá 10 horas de nitrosaminas, se você ouvir tudo, ou mais ainda, viu? Então você vai lá e dá aquela moral pra gente. Agora, eles vão falar inglês, porque o Chris fala inglês, não fala português, e é a maneira mais fácil de fazer o conteúdo. Mas o YouTube vai te ajudar. Se você tá vendo isso ouvindo no Spotify e não tá com o inglês apurado, talvez você perca um pouquinho. Tenta trabalhar esse inglês aí, ajuda a gente, não é por isso que vai abandonar nós, né? O conteúdo é muito bom, são pessoas incríveis que estão lá, então vale a pena o esforço. Eu vou mostrar para vocês aqui, ó, como é que faz essa legenda automática no YouTube ou colocar dublagem no YouTube, tá? Vou mostrar para vocês e aí depois você segue pro vídeo, bom vídeo para vocês. Beleza? Bora lá. Você tá vendo a tela do YouTube aqui, bonitinha, vou gravar a tela para vocês verem. Vou dar play aqui no vídeo. Cadê o playzinho? Tá falando em inglês, sem nada. Você vem aqui, ó, nesse botãozinho aqui, ó, legenda. Clicou em legenda, a legenda já aparece aqui, ó, no idioma que você escolhe. Você clica aqui na engrenagenzinha, idioma da legenda, inglês, português. Você tem traduzir automaticamente, ou você escolhe a legenda que ele vai traduzir, tá bom? E funciona bonitinho. Aí, o segundo passo para dublar, eu vou até apertar pausa aqui, ó, para você entender. O segundo passo para dublar, você tem que instalar a extensão. Então você vem aqui, o link da extensão é esse aqui, ó. Speak Subtitle for YouTube. Eu vou colocar essa descrição esse link aqui na descrição do canal, tá? Instalou essa extensão, atualizou a página, vai aparecer esse menuzinho aqui, ó, à direita, lá direito. Então o que você faz? Você liga ele, ligou, escolhe quem vai falar, qual idioma que você quer que ele legende não, traduza, né? Duble, muta o áudio original e dá play. Olha só.
Química molecular pela primeira vez. Sim, quando vi as moléculas se movendo, pensei, isso é incrível. Preciso colocar isso no meu portfólio também e no meu projeto, porque preciso.
Então, além de assistir e ouvir ele todo em inglês, entender inglês, coisa linda, mas você tem essas duas opções, ou legenda ou dubla, que você consegue acompanhar esse podcast bonitão. Desculpa tomar tempão nesse, mas é o primeiro da cast série. Vai vir uma série de conteúdos em inglês daqui para frente, junto com os conteúdos em português que a gente sempre faz. Então é isso, espero que tenha gostado, espero que ajude e bom programa para vocês. Tchau!
So now we are going to start in English.
Yeah, change. Shift
So
to-
yeah, now we shift again to English.
Yeah.
My brain starts to like mix a little bit, but it's
One
fine.
melting, yeah.
Yeah. So Chris, once again, many thanks to come. It's a great to get. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
It's a great pleasure to have you here. So I already said in the beginning in Portuguese that we are going to talk about artificial intelligence and how can we see this or the impact of this in the future of talks in pharma. But before we start to do that, I would like to ask you, how is it received us here this 1 week, 10 days in Laza?
Being
Yeah, the louder
Our
stuff,
team.
the Portuguese for blah 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 blah. So how have you?
How are your impressions
Yeah.
about how you're staying here?
Yeah,
Absolutely love it.
Oh,
Just
nice.
a bit of shame that the weather's so terrible.
No.
Because coming from Brazil to cold and damp,
Yeah.
grey and dark,
And
it's
rain.
not the same. Like you're saying, Paul. But no, you're bringing so much joy and life to the building,
Oh,
and
nice.
it's
Thanks.
waking everybody up, which is brilliant.
Nice. Thanks.
Yeah,
It has been a pleasure.
we have some samba
Yeah.
because wow,
No, all the team
we're
was.
so excited.
Yeah, all the team was so impressed with like
Yeah.
everything, with the people, with like structure, with the team. So it was amazing.
Thank
A
you
great
very
experience. Yeah.
I think we've benefited most though, because we're surrounded by really smart people.
Yeah. And this is
But sometimes it's great to drag them out to talk,
for
get excited rather than be smart, focusing on their work. So having chance to have more conversation with different people is brilliant for them as well.
For
Yeah.
sure. For sure.
And we'd love to talk to everybody. everybody, they are very different between them. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's a very
That's the good
complement-
part.
Yeah, they complement each other in a very positive way. It's
We played paddle, we danced, we like out.
today we have
we,
Zola.
like, yeah, we did
Yeah.
so many things. So our schedule it's pretty full.
Yeah.
So it was very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was
Thank-
very
thank
nice.
you.
It has been great opportunity.
Having us here.
We have to schedule next time.
Yeah.
So let's start. So we are discussing like out of the podcast here, like the impact of AI. Recently, I think everybody's talking about ChatGPT. Maybe it's because ChatGPT was the one that like makes everybody understand, knows more about AI and all this kind of stuff. But maybe this is not something new, right? Like actually ChatGPT is new, but the idea to work with machines is not.
So I think AI goes back a long, long time. So
Back-
that broad term of AI
Yeah.
covers everything. So machine learning, knowledge bases. So Lars has been building machine learning models and knowledge-based models for
14.
40 years. So for sure. So that element of AI is not new. But I think what's changing is, well, I guess over the last couple of years, it's been the large language models.
Okay.
So that's been a way to collect so much knowledge and make it visible and exposed. And so we've seen a massive rise in the use of things like ChatGPT, which is now one of the fastest growing websites to be active against. But that's, I think, is just the start. So if you like, if the large language models have made knowledge accessible,
Mm-hmm.
the change we're going to see over the next year is what they call agentic AI, which is where you can give a problem and it will work out how to solve the problem, and then it will solve it. It'll do its own research.
Yeah.
So you're now starting to see early research tools coming out where you can say, well, what do we know about this? And it will find ways to solve the problem. So it'll find ways to learn the information it needs and come back with a solution.
Okay.
So if you like, it's like when you ask someone to do a piece of work, you don't tell them how to do it. They just go away and work it out.
Okay.
And this shift is now coming. I think that's going to be the next big boom over the next year or two. We're just starting to see it happening now.
Oh,
Yeah.
when you say like something like that, I was like, in my mind, I had a question to ask you at the end of the podcast that maybe it's going to be interesting to start, make this now and start the conversation from that. Like, do you have any expectations that AI could like replace humans or something like that? Because this is something that everybody asks, and everybody's afraid.
Yeah.
From a social and politic aspect, maybe we have some effects of that, but I don't think that they will. So that's the
No,
I
so
suppose-
I don't think it will replace humans. I think that, well, there's a really good quote from a radiologist who said that humans that use AI will replace humans that don't.
yeah.
And I think that's really important because we can do so much more efficiently and more accurately and quickly if we use AI to help us.
Okay.
And I think we've got to use it in that mode, which is there to help us, not to replace us. Now, some jobs will be replaced, but I don't think there are very many. And more jobs will be created than lost. I think it's one of these things where as soon as something becomes possible and it becomes cheap to use, more uses of it appear, so that you end up doing more things than you could ever do before or even imagine doing. So the opportunities are much, much bigger than the risks. I think jobs will change because all jobs will have an element of AI helping them. You won't have to remember stuff. It'll just be there for you when you need it.
It's true.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
I think we are facing the era that we have to know what should we what is the question, like you have to understand
The
how
right questions too.
make the right question, because
Yes, I think there are two really important skills with AI now. So one is, as you say, asking the right question. You need to be really clear in your mind what you want back, because if you're vague and uncertain, you're going to get something vague back. And the other half is this critical analysis of the response you get. Give you an example. So I was looking into an area of science, and I asked what's being done in the last year in this area. and ChatGPT came back with an answer, and it came back with a brilliant reference. The title of the reference was absolutely perfect. It had a leader in the field as an author, and I thought it's fantastic. And I wasted 5 minutes trying to find this paper, which didn't exist.
Oh,
It was a hallucination. It was the paper that I really wanted. It told me this is what you really want, and it did. So I wasted time. I thought maybe the journal's not right, maybe the year's not right, maybe the title's not right, and I tried all these different searches. Didn't exist.
Oh,
So you've got to be so careful. This critical thinking of how to ask the right question and how to check the answer you get back is so important.
I can imagine. But this is the challenge, right? I think when we think and build artificial intelligence like large language models, try to avoid hallucination, right? Because it's going to be easy with all the things that we have in all the information that it's spread in the world. So it's easy to have some hallucination. So
Yeah. I mean, methods are being developed to make it more trustworthy.
yeah, for sure.
So it checks its own answers before it replies.
For sure.
So these problems will go away, but in the short term, got to be so careful.
I can imagine.
and from a human perspective, you need to be more critical, and you need to go even more and deeply of the topic that you are searching for, because otherwise you are going to trust a something that is hallucination.
It's like any tool, though. If you don't know how to use it, you could cut yourself. So you have to be careful.
Yeah, it's like the expert review of.
It's an expert review of an expert review.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
And that's why we
Still
need to be connected, and we also we need to continue studying. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's not for you to be lazy or I will not focus on that. No, I will not do my college or PhD or something like that. So it's also important for us to continue study and
be
to be
curious.
to be
So
curious.
I'm always very interested in biases, and one of the biases is called anchor bias, which is it worked last time, so I'll do it the same way this time. And with AI moving so quickly, what worked 2 years ago is not the right way to do it now. And it's really hard not to have a habit of just doing what worked last time, but thinking and saying, how should I do it this time? It's really important to think like that.
I can imagine.
And I really think this is the real impact when we think about this fear of human replacement, is that the humans need to be more and more humans to use the AI. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I mean, some jobs will change. I saw a really great pair of photographs from New York, and they were 10 years separated. One picture was in 1987 and one was 10 years later. And the first picture was full of horses and carts. Second one was full of cars and there were no horses anyway. And it just showed you that 10 years, things can change quite quickly. So if your job was, I don't know, providing horse feed in the middle of New York, then there'd be no need for that anymore.
Yeah.
But of course, there'll be a need for petrol stations.
Yeah.
So jobs shift, yeah, they just change slightly.
Yeah.
And from your perspective, from what you have, because I talk with you a lot about that, and it's very impressive, like your understanding and your perspective of artificial intelligence in the pharma and the tox world. So what do you think, like, how can
We apply the.
not just apply, how artificial intelligence is going to affect
Oh yeah.
tox in the next future? Like,
I'm going to answer it twice. So I think AI will affect pharma companies everywhere.
okay,
If you look at leading companies like Moderna, they are using large language models throughout the business all of the time, constantly. They've got more than 750 large language models across every department.
serious?
Every department has their own models that help them do their job better.
Oh, God.
So generally, everything is shifting in terms of gaining access to knowledge and information more quickly. In terms of research, I think AI has come at just the right time because assays have developed to produce huge amounts of data. These omics type expression data, where you see cell expression changes as you expose chemicals to the cells, generates colossal amounts of data. Multi-endpoint assays or cell painting is generating colossal amounts of data. And it's impossible for a human to use it,
Yeah.
study it. For sure. So you need AI to analyze it and look for the differences and understand the connections and the correlations. Without it, you couldn't do it.
Yeah,
You couldn't use all these powerful assays. So it's inevitable
yeah.
to use it all the time.
From the same perspective, to extract information from literature as well, like to gather information, because it's like everything is spread there, and we know that ChatGPT could join and tell everything that we want. So not just connect, but extract as well. In your
Good and
opinion?
bad. It's good and bad. So
Okay.
in the past, if you didn't use the right keyword in your search, you wouldn't find information.
Yeah, this is true.
Now, because large language models look at the context, the words around the words you're using, it will automatically find relevant information that is close, but not exactly the same language that you've used. So you'll find more quickly. So that's a really positive. I think the challenge, the really big challenge, is that large language models, they depend upon language
Mm-hmm.
and chemistry. You don't describe chemicals with language. Naming is subtle.
Yeah.
Simple machine learning language like Smiles language, you couldn't use it. In fact, you know it doesn't work. And so trying to understand chemicals or find similar chemicals just with language doesn't work.
Oh yeah.
And so I think that's a real challenge, that there'll be a solution, but there isn't one just yet. And so that's really frustrating because you don't know what similar means
Yeah.
with large language models.
And we can mix this with images, right? So it's going to be even more difficult.
Well, it has been tried actually that rather than input a chemical name or a Smiles, you can actually take a picture of the structure drawn down and use that in an image recognition approach to try and find similar analogs.
For sure.
And it kind of works.
Oh,
But
nice.
it's using technology that wasn't designed for that approach.
For sure.
Kind of crowbarring it in rather than having something that's been designed to understand chemistry.
And I think, like, imagine how powerful a machine has to be to work in like large libraries of molecules to work with, like extract all the information from like an image to gather information. So it's like tough equipment probably.
Well, you can't build your own devices anymore. You have to use services.
Yeah.
Use it on the cloud. You just can't build big enough machines.
I can imagine. And do you think that our community, our science community, is prepared for all this change that we are saying about like skills, about understanding of AI, about knowledge between people, critical point of view? What do you think about it?
Well, I guess there's always the early adopters who are already trying
yeah.
and experimenting.
Yeah.
And then there are those who want to hide from the realities of where we are. And so the other end, they're going to struggle because the world's going to change around them, and they're going to. But that's a very small percentage. Most will be in that middle of, once somebody shows me it works, then I'll do it too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we'll gradually adopt, just like any technological change, would adopt quite quickly.
Oh yeah, David.
And thinking about LASA, for example, how do you think the AI will help you to?
It certainly helps already in terms of research. Finding information is so much more efficient and quick than it ever was before. So it's also a brilliant learning tool. If you don't know an area, you can learn instantly by just asking good questions through large language models, or even tools designed to convert information into flashcards or quizzes. It's very quick to learn. So that's totally brilliant. Using it for chemistry is really hard, and it requires a lot of human intelligence to know how to use the artificial intelligence. And I think that's going to continue to be a challenge.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is why we need humans in the loop. We can't trust the answer that comes out. But it's going to keep moving quite quickly.
Nice. I'm thinking like an applicability thing about AI and considering LASA and talks. And I would like to ask you, AOPs, for example, it would be like a very important tool, like AI for AOPs could speed or accelerate a lot, right? So that's what we are going to see, like speed and acceleration of the develop of informations like that. Next generation risk assessment is going to be improved with AI. So that's the thing.
So the things which will definitely work. So learning AOPs, discovering new relationships using AI.
Okay.
It'll be fantastic. Absolutely. When it comes to making predictions, I think we've got a problem. So large language models, they don't give you the same answer each time.
Okay.
Because they're predicting the word that comes next in the sentence that they start writing. And so you don't get consistent results. And imagine the nightmare if industry runs the same model, but the same chemical, gets a different answer.
Yeah.
It would be difficult to explain away. And so understanding how we can cope with uncertainty and saying how we cope with non-reproducibility, these are two really big hurdles.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're ready for that just yet.
So that comes my second question about that. What about agencies? Like how they will understand a model that sometimes is not transparent like the ones that we have today, and how they face artificial intelligence. Of course, if you know something about that, like if you heard something because I know the FDA sometimes works with like some ideas about, but I never thought on like, for example, ChatGPT of one agency, for example, like if they have their own ChatGPT, for example. So
yes, I'm sure they're already using.
no, nice.
But again, I think it's, well, to ask the right question. The question, it's probably not, is the model transparent? The question's probably is, can I trust the answer?
Okay.
So it can be a little bit less than transparent. If the information that comes back is credible, believable, consistent and trustable, then I think you could probably use a less transparent model.
Okay.
Just as we do when we talk to another human.
Okay.
Sometimes we'll trust the response we get back because it makes sense, it fits with what we know, it fits all of the available data, it's consistent with our knowledge. So we're more likely to trust that than we are with someone who doesn't give us that information.
Okay.
And even if we don't ask them everything that they know not to be transparent, we still trust them.
Okay. Because when we think like a lot of people say that, for example, convolutional neural network, it's a black box. They don't know exactly how they can explain the models, like how they understand it inside of the model. So sometimes when, at least in my experience, when we are thinking like to submit a report for some regulatory agency, they try to ask you like how the algorithm works. So we can explain, of course, like how Derek works, how Sarah works, and they are very used to that. But to explain a black box, if they don't have the understanding, at least a minimal, about AI, about programming, it would be like very hard to say, okay, so I have to give like a lecture about what is convolutional neural network, how it works, how can we don't know exactly all the convolutional answers. So
yeah, I think this is, again, it's the wrong questions being asked. So in the world of lab experiments, reproducible means if I do the same experiment, exactly, I'll get the same result as you.
Yeah.
In computer modeling, that's not really what should be done, because we have had questions in the past of, can I have all of your data so I can build my own model to check that I get the same answer as your model? That's just not practical. It'd be like saying, well, I'm not going to use ChatGPT, I'm going to invest billions and create my own large language model and see if I get the same answer. And then you won't, because every time it'll give you a different answer. And so the question isn't really, can I reproduce it? It's, can it give me an answer that I can trust? And I think that's where the focus is going to have to shift. And it's a change of thinking from the traditional, I'll reproduce the experiment you did and see if I get the same observation.
Oh, this is interesting, because then comes the challenge that Chris said about the prediction, because I think if we predict something with neural networks, sometimes you face these questions about like, how did you get the prediction? Because like the prediction starts to get a little bit hard in that field. So, but yeah, we have to change our minds. We have to change our skills for sure to understand a little bit better. How can we use that in a practice way? I mean, like,
Yes, I'm just blown minding because of what you said. Like nowadays, the agencies, they are so focused on reproducibility. If your method is validated and so on, that this will need to change. Yeah.
It's the double standards. So we're used to calculators, which gives you the same answer precisely, reproducibly every time.
Yeah.
And it's easy to assume that all computers will be exactly the same as a calculator. You get the same answer and it's right every time. But if we work with humans, or we even do animal experiments if we have to, or lab experiments, we're going to get inconsistent results. And we're quite comfortable with that. We know that if we ask the same expert, same question over 2 weeks, they might have learned something in the meantime, come back with a different answer. And we're quite comfortable and accept the fact that they've learned more. They have a different perspective now. Their answer is changing. But we need to apply that same approach to computers rather than saying it needs to be consistent every single time, because that's not what we want. We don't want it consistently wrong. We want it to continue to learn and give us better answers.
Oh, this is amazing. Like, do we know if some agencies like are more
Into it.
more into it like now, or accepted more? Because in Brazil, Visa already released a new saying that they are creating an AI tool to work with the qualification, for example. It's like pretty basic, like actually not pretty basic. We just have a small amount of information about that, so we don't know exactly all the details of what they are building on, but it's interesting to see that they are trying to use AI for something. So
Super important. Actually, it's really good that they're doing it. Fantastic.
yeah,
Because the more they experiment and explore,
Yeah.
the more they'll understand the strengths and weaknesses and limitations and know how to use it well. So good on them for doing it, because it's so important.
so in about that, do you know if any other agency is kind of flirting more with the idea of AI so far?
I suspect they are, but they're not talking about it very much publicly.
See, I think FDA has
I saw some news. Yeah, I saw some news from FDA saying about artificial intelligence.
yeah, but we don't know exactly what they are doing.
But it's good that they're trying. Learn a lot about how to use it well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if it's something internal, like because on Visa it's probably doing something internal for just accelerate their processes because they don't have
Yeah.
Many people.
people. Yeah, so they are trying hard to.
Yeah, we are trying. We will like try to talk with them about that to make podcasts as well. Like
Yeah.
for listening to it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be interesting. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. And I think like I don't want to spend so much of your time, but I'm gonna ask my last question actually, because this is just like speed talk, like just a quick talk here. Like
The last one, that's true.
no, the last
it's always
from my perspective,
more
just the last
technical.
one.
Yeah.
But of course, it depends of his answer.
Yeah.
So we are saying about the certainties, like the uncertainties. Do you think that there is a way to deal with that, considering AI, for example, to ask for AI create new models with less uncertainties? Or because they can get into a loop, like a lot of models. How can we work with the uncertainties in a world of AI doing it?
I think what you phrased at the end is really important. So trying to remove uncertainty will never succeed.
Never.
And we're all different anyway. We're
Yeah.
different, so we're not going to respond the same way to a
Yeah.
toxic or chemical. And so learning how to deal with it, that's what we have to do. We have to understand how big is that uncertainty and how does that connect to risk?
Okay.
And is that a level of risk which we're tolerable of? Because we carry risks all the time. We're instinctively accepting of risks
Yeah.
in everyday life. We have to apply that same approach. Just as we do in ISHM7,
Yeah.
which explicitly exposes the tolerable level of risk.
Yeah,
So we can do it.
yeah. It's interesting to say that two things. Oh, see, two things. I'm not gonna ask, but I'm gonna comment. It's nice to hear everything like you said now, because it's similar with like the idea of exposure and risk, because it's two different things.
Yeah.
So you can have the exposure, but there is no risk on that, so it's
And
fine.
there is a margin of safety, like
Of course.
Yeah.
So this is my first observation of the answer, and my second one is like during this like half an hour that we are talking about AI, you correlate a lot AI with humans.
yeah.
It is fantastic because I never thought so much about how can we work with the results from AI just like humans, for example, because everybody's different. And we always, when we are in interactions with people, we always say, oh no, but this is different from that, from this person is different from the other. So we approach everybody in a different way because we will receive different comments, different answers, different experiences, right? So maybe that's the way that we have to approach AI as well. So if we think about, it's not going to be every time the same answer, but we can understand the approach, understand the right questions, understand how can we use the result from your question.
It's almost an empathy, you know?
Yeah,
We're going to be tricked into it because you see the growth in robotics and how robots come and simulate expressions and you can interact by speech with the robot.
Yeah.
We're going to start treating them like a human before long. And so we won't be thinking of them as a computer. We'll be assuming that they understand us and they understand emotions and they understand feelings and perspectives as a human. So we'll be tricked.
Yeah.
Are we going to be alive for this generation?
Of course we will, yeah.
Good.
So that's very, very fast.
That was my last question.
Yeah. It's so interesting. We are looking forward to it.
I'm very excited to live in this kind of environment.
Me too. All of those tasks that we don't need to do by hand anymore.
Yes.
Vacuuming.
Yes. We're looking forward to it for sure.
This is true.
For sure.
So, Chris, thank you once again. We try to get, we know that we have like a busy agenda, so
We really appreciate it.
yeah, really appreciate that you separate a little bit of your time to come here, talk with us. It's amazing to have you on the podcast and talk with you again. Like, definitely everybody is gonna like it just like us here.
Yes.
So it's a great pleasure, and I would like to have you many other times.
I can do it.
Much more often.
Have in Brazil.
For sure.
Yes, for sure.
It's a deal.
For sure.
So now we are going to translate Portuguese again just to finish the episode. So,
Yes.
gente, mais uma vez, foi muito bacana. A gente conseguiu, fazendo um resuminho bem rápido aqui, a gente conseguiu fazer algumas perguntas bem rápidas para ele sobre o que ele pensa sobre a inteligência artificial, como ele enxerga a inteligência artificial no mundo farma, no mundo de tox, como isso vai afetar, quais são os principais desafios, como que isso está sendo aplicado e visto dentro da LASA para o futuro. Claro que ele não falou nenhuma coisa muito específica do que a LASA vai fazer para os próximos anos, mas a ideia acho que é mais ou menos essa, é entender que a inteligência artificial vai acelerar o desenvolvimento de muita coisa e a gente vai ter um desafio regulatório bem grande, que é de tratar as incertezas dos modelos para que a gente saiba, então, na verdade, como interpretar a informação que a inteligência artificial vai nos dar e como fazer as perguntas corretas para que a gente consiga ter os melhores dados, as melhores informações.
E eu acho que a mensagem que fica é a correlação muito próxima de inteligência artificial e do humano. Né?
Sim,
A forma como a gente vai ter que aprender
a interagir.
a interagir de uma forma muito humana com a inteligência artificial. Então, essa acho que é o pulo do gato. Assim.
Não, e foi bacana que no começo a gente falou também sobre que a inteligência artificial, gente, eu já falei isso acho que em outros episódios, não é uma coisa nova. O machine learning, de fato, ele já é uma coisa aplicada há muito tempo, desde os anos 70, se não me engano.
A própria LASA é.
E aí a própria LASA tem algoritmos
40
específicos e tal, mas agora a gente está vivendo um mundo das Large Language Models, que são os modelos de linguagem grandes, né, de grandes conteúdos, que é o ChatGPT, por exemplo. Eu nem sei se Large Language Models tem tradução em português, tá? Eu fiz tradução aqui na minha cabeça. Que fez esse boom, que fez a gente achar que, putz, agora a gente tem uma inteligência artificial. Mas a inteligência artificial já acontece há bastante tempo. E ele falou também sobre isso, um pouquinho sobre como isso afetou o desenvolvimento das tecnologias e como isso afeta os skills de modo geral das pessoas, das interações entre os humanos e tudo mais. Então foi um episódio rápido, mas bem bacana.
Yes.
Bem bacana.
Foi rápido por conta da agenda dele.
Foi rápido, claro. Foi rápido por conta da agenda dele. A gente queria poder falar mais coisa. Mas a gente está bem feliz de ter recebido. E a gente espera que vocês gostem também. E se vocês gostarem desse assunto, deixa no comentário que a gente vai trazer mais informação sobre isso. A gente trabalha bastante com isso também. A gente discute muito isso internamente, porque isso faz parte da nossa cultura e do nosso dia a dia para melhorar e para trazer cada vez coisa mais atualizada para vocês, certo?
Certo.
Alguma outra coisa?
Só que a gente fica muito feliz de estar aqui. É um prazer enorme estar imersa dentro desse ecossistema tão...
Fácil.
Então, eu diria que ele é provocante, assim, sabe?
Sim.
Ele te tira do conforto para você, de fato, pensar nos próximos passos, não só nossos, mas da humanidade de uma maneira geral. Então, se você curte esse tipo de conteúdo, continue aqui seguindo a gente, compartilhe, se inscreva no canal, ative o sininho, no YouTube, Spotify, enfim, siga a Spectra nas redes sociais, Spectra Soluções Científicas no LinkedIn e Instagram. E estamos como Pastelaria Podcast no YouTube, Spotify, qualquer agregador de áudio. E também a Consult Lasa e a Lasa em todas as redes sociais, porque lá também eles publicam a todo tempo as iniciativas deles com relação à inteligência artificial.
Então é isso, galera. Não se esqueça, aproveitem. Se você tá vendo esse episódio, provavelmente a gente tá lançando vários outros dessa mesma série. Tem muita
A
coisa
gente já
bacana.
deve estar no Brasil, assim.
Provavelmente não, a gente já tá no Brasil, definitivamente. Mas tem muita coisa bacana pra vir, tem muita coisa legal pra vocês assistirem. A gente fez muito podcast aqui, a gente queria ter feito mais, mas a gente ficou por um tempo limitado, apesar de a gente tinha muita coisa pra fazer aqui. Então, aproveitem e curtam, se divirtam e aprendam do jeito que a gente geralmente faz, de jeito diferente, de jeito leve. Então, finalizando aqui, como o Pastor dizia, que o acaso favoreça as mentes preparadas e que alguma das informações que a gente discutiu seja o acaso que vocês estão esperando até o próximo episódio. Tchau!